Merritt's story is written and directed by Noah Baumbach, and it stars Scarlett Johansson, Adam Driver, Ray Liotta, and Laura Dern. Artists throughout the course of their lives will elaborate on variations of the same theme and style. And that's something we see in literature, in painting, in sculpture, in street art, and of course in filmmaking. 15 years ago, Noah Baumbach directed what is arguably his masterpiece, The Squid and the Whale, which read as an autobiographical account of his parents' divorce. It was set in the 1980s, and it was told through the point of view of Jesse Eisenberg's character and how he was going through that situation as a teenager. In Marriage Story, we're once again thrust in the middle of a divorce, but this time it is much more seen through the lens of somebody going through a divorce as an adult. Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver are separating. They're going through a divorce. They are part of this upper middle class Brooklyn artsy scene. Driver is a theater director and Scarlett Johansson is an actress that plays in his troupe. Over the course of the 10 years they've been together, she's very much been his muse, and they also happen to have a child together. Johansson is moving back to Los Angeles, where she is originally from, to star in a TV pilot. She brings her son to California, and Adam Driver is under the assumption that this is going to be a temporary arrangement, that once the shoot or the season of this television show is over, they're going to move back to New York, which is where they've always lived. However, once it becomes clear that that's not necessarily going to be the case, it then becomes a big point of contention in the custody battle. And so what was originally supposed to be two adults separating cordially and arranging things in the best interest of the child and both parties descends into a very ugly fight once the lawyers get involved. Now, how much of that ugliness is actually caused by the arrival of the blood-sucking lawyers?
I don't believe it. You're meant to come down here and defend me against these characters, and the only one I've got on my side is the blood-sucking lawyer.
Thank you.
Or if it simply just accelerates the rot that was already there, that is left for each spectator to interpret to themselves. It of course points out the absurdities of the legal system that works far better in the cases of an open conflict than acting out as a mediator, and of course the absurdity of paying an obscene amount of money to fight for custody and for legal cases, basically jeopardizing your financial future and thus the financial future of the child you are fighting to take care of. And much like The Squid and the Whale, there's an interesting shift in perspective that happens throughout the course of the film. In The Squid and the Whale, the film firmly starts out in the camp of the father. Jesse Eisenberg is very much on his father's side. I mean, his father is basically his hero, and he learns throughout the course of the film that maybe his father is not such a good guy after all, and he comes to a much greater understanding of his mother's point of view. And with Marriage Story, you get the initial impression that the film is very sympathetic to Adam Driver's character and is told maybe a little more from his perspective, but as the film progresses, it sort of tends to shift and goes back and forth, and you can very much understand and perceive both characters' motivations and desires and their perspective. The film presents a relationship that, like many relationships, exist because essentially one is submitting to the other, to their desires, to their plans, to their way of perceiving the world, and once that person that is a little more subservient decides to not accept that anymore and to live a little more for themselves, and for that other person that, in this case Adam Driver, was always getting what he wanted, it's very difficult to adapt to that change. A, for narcissistic reasons, because until this point everything had kind of revolved around his own desires and perspectives, but B, because it's kind of difficult to wrap your head around significant changes. And ultimately, Marriage Story is about two decent people that start fighting dirty because divorce brings out the worst in good people. Marriage Story is an incredibly raw and human film that shines because of two tremendous central performances by Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, held together by some amazing writing from Baumbach. And I just couldn't recommend it more. It's coming out on Netflix, I imagine, very soon because it's a Netflix film. And I encourage everybody to log on to their Netflix account and check this one out. So as always, thanks very much for watching the video. Please be sure to hit the like button if you like the review, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, see ya.